A leadership always comes through example only. If you're a leader, you have to set the example in front of your followers. Then only you are a leader. And when it comes to handling a big team, a leader has to set many examples, right from the minimal efforts to the maximum achievement. It's all about the leadership. If the leader is setting up the examples, then the followers will automatically get inspired with the leader. My name is Alok Joshi, the student of public speaking and human behavior. And in today's Talk to Rock show, I have one big leader in front of me who is leading a big team in one of the finest pharmaceutical companies. So let me have the opportunity to welcome Harpal Singh Abad in my show, Alok Joshi Talk to Rock. Harpal, I welcome you on this show, Alok Joshi Talk to Rock, and I'm so happy to have you here today.
Thank you so much, Alok. It is a pleasure. It's literally a pleasure to be on this show of Alok Joshi Talk to Rock. Yeah, I've been watching your YouTube channel. I've been following all the episodes patiently, right from spiritualism to leadership. What a change. What beautiful people you get on to speak. And I was so happy when you started off with this leadership series, and I was anticipating, yes, probably my number would come. And thanks for your, call, kind gesture of having me over here. So thank you so much, Alok, for having me over here.
You were always there, Harpal. The only thing is that I was searching for the leaders as such for this particular series. You were always there, but in between, like there were many other people from the other fields. So I thought I should have the right time for Harpal to have him on this show. So let's start our journey, Harpal. When we talk about the leadership, because you are at the post of DGM in one of the big pharmaceutical companies. And I think the leadership starts from here, from the mindset. The person who thinks to become a leader, one day he becomes a leader. So it never happens that you never thought of being a leader and you became a leader in any of the organization or in your own enterprise also. So how does journey started? Let's have the introduction of your journey, your
Sure,
past, and then your becoming a leader, a big leader in
sure,
your
sure,
position.
sure.
Please.
So thank you once again for this opportunity. Let me introduce myself. I'm sure the viewers are already aware of my name. My name is Harpal Singh Abbott. So little story about Abbott. Uh, obviously it is intriguing how is this person
Yes.
tagging the company's name because pharmaceutical giant Abbott is there. So Abbott comes from a place in Pakistan, which is known as Abbottabad. So during the partition, my grandfather migrated from that place to India. And at that point of time, these names were added to identify from which village we are belonging to. And that's how slowly became a surname. I basically belong to Lucknow, the city of Nawabs, born and brought up there. And my basic education till the time of graduation all happened in Lucknow. Uh, Talking about leadership, since it's a leadership series, I personally, as you rightly said, it never happens that you don't think and you automatically become a leader. No,
Yeah.
you have to think about it, you have to see it, you have to visualize it, and then only your dreams start taking shape, and then you become a leader. My dreams had started taking shape pretty early, very early. I would say in my childhood only. Now, obviously, you will ask or you will wonder how come in that childhood.
Yeah.
Uh, if we all go back and reflect, the first leader which we all see in our life, I personally think are our parents, or especially I would talk about more about a father rather than
Father.
a mother, not undermining the roles and responsibilities of
Yes.
father, but what you learn, the basic leadership skills are from your father,
Father. Yeah.
right? Which are the basic leadership skills which the parents teach you or your father teaches you? First is obviously the parents will teach you empathy, right? They will also teach you discipline. They will also teach you about honesty, right? They will also teach you about resilience. They will also act as a mentor. They will teach you accountability, right? So they will also teach you patience. When all these learnings basically are there right from the childhood itself, I wonder what is there so unique that people would like to go to a B school to learn leadership. No, you are seeing your leader right in front of you, right from your childhood onwards. At least for me, my father has been my biggest influencer. My father was working in a nationalized bank, and he retired from a position of a very senior position actually in one of the nationalized banks. So as a child, it is always nice to go and visit your father's office and to see how he's working. Sometimes he calls you, or sometimes you're in that area and you just walk into the office. So I always felt very nice. Since my father was already in a very senior position, so I felt pride in walking into his chamber. There were people around him, people coming with requests, sir, ye kar dijiye, sir, wo kar dijiye. And I felt so nice inside. Come on, yaar, my father is such a huge respect. People respect him, and he commands this entire branch. So many people, all types of functionalities are reporting into him. So I really liked the way he worked, and that became my first inspiration of becoming a leader later in my life. And that's how the things were ingrained. So thanks to all the qualities which my father ingrained in myself. And uh, how would you define a leader? I would say leader is someone who basically pushes you or influences you or basically motivates you to achieve in life, right? So that influence and motivate, and leader is also one who walks the talk. You rightly mentioned that he has to walk the talk. If the leader says something and does something else, you would never appreciate or you would never consider him as a leader. So I think I have been born and brought up with that slogan, and I always believed in that. Having said that, after I did my schooling, uh, I did a couple of odd jobs just to gain an experience. Uh, I was never destined to be into this pharmaceutical industry, as it happens all across. I mean, I've never met a person who would say, no, I wanted to join a pharmaceutical industry. I mean, at that point of time, the basic fields which were available were either you become a doctor or you become an engineer, and those two positions were considered as the most coveted things. Somehow, I never had interest of becoming a doctor or an engineer. So I wanted always to be in the mass media, journalism. So I started and enrolled myself into a mass communication and journalism course. And I was doing pretty good in that. One fine day, I was going through a newspaper and I saw a walk-in interview from a major giant, which was an Indian MNC known as Ranbaxy. I'm sure you're already aware of it. And that walk-in interview was something, which just rang a bell somewhere. Okay, Harpal, why don't you go and try? Do you have something in you or not? So I went, and those days the jobs are not that easy. So when I went to the hotel where these walk-in interviews were being conducted, I was pleasantly shocked. There were around 1,000 people who were queued up for that walk-in interview. So a fear came into my mind. What am I going to do over here? There are 1,000 people. But then I said, no, let me try it out. So from the group discussions to the personal interviews to the written test, everything happened, the entire day's exercise. By the end of the day, imagine there were only 3 people who were shortlisted. I was lucky enough to be in the shortlisted people. And that's where my journey started off. So I was recruited as a frontline sales personnel. And the first posting which I got was not my hometown, Lucknow. I got the posting into Meerut, which was at Western UP. Now, that was where I started learning. When you are living in your comfort, in your home, you get your food on time, the house is neat and clean, you get clothes washed, ironed, everything. You're used to so much of comfort. And then all of a sudden you are thrown into a headquarter or a place which is, you are not used to it. Now, there is a huge difference between Western UP and Eastern UP. Eastern UP from Lucknow is known as Tehzeeb, whereas Western UP, with all due regards, is a Jat belt. So that language also changes. So that's where I started learning. Everywhere, if you see in the early days, you always find mentors who help you, who groom you without any personal bias. I was lucky enough to get a couple of beautiful managers who really helped me in grooming my skills. They taught me, they handheld me. Yes, the job for the first 3 years was not easy. Literally telling you, it was not easy. Being a frontline sales personnel, going out there every day in the sunshine, in winters, and rainy season, it's not easy. And then meeting doctors who will talk only science with you, right? You have to be, so perfect that you discuss science. You tell them about the product, the qualities of the product. You talk about the pricing. You meet the chemists. You meet the wholesalers. So many aspects of the job. So certain time people get a little bogged down. What am I doing? But that's where I said the mentors pitched in. They handheld me. they guided me, they pushed me, and they said, no, you are made for bigger things. Why don't you understand that? And they started, coaching me and helping me out. After the first 3 years of my job as a frontline sales executive, I thought, no, I need to become something more important because that childhood memory was there. And I was seeing my managers. So the command which they had, the influence which they had, the respect which they earned when they walked into a doctor's chamber, the doctors used to get up, shake hands with them. Oh, so and so has come. Please do sit. And then they did not talk about the products. It was a very different discussion altogether. It was the industry, it was the company. So I could understand that the frontline sales personnel is there for doing a pure hardcore sales, whereas the managers above probably are a bridge between the organization and the doctor. So I really started liking that. So after the 3 years of a frontline sales thing, I appeared for the first assessment center within Ranbaxy and was selected as an area business manager. Now that's where my leadership journey started. There were two options which were given to me, two postings basically. One was in Rajasthan and one was in Maharashtra. So I was very clearly asked, where would you like to go? And my answer was, sir, Rajasthan to ye bagal mein hai. Let me go to some unexplored territory. And I was posted in Aurangabad in Maharashtra as a full-time sales manager. Now, that was a challenge which I had taken for myself.
One of the toughest territories. One of the toughest territories.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because lots of tourings were there. You come into a place where the language is different, the cooking is different, the culture is different, the way people behave is completely different. You don't know how to go inside and talk into the clinic of the doctor because they would like somebody to talk in the local language. And that's where I had to make inroads with my team. I had to get my team in place. I had to win over their confidence. Right. So again, that walk the talk started happening. So if I told my team members certain things, I used to be there along with them, shoulder to shoulder, and demonstrated to look, I am asking you to do only the things which I can do personally. And that's what they started loving, about me, helping me out. If there was a doctor who was meeting at 1:30 in the night, Harpal was there along with them, ensured that, I did not leave them, ye doctor 1 baje hai ya 1:30 baje hai, so you go and meet him. No, I thought, no, I will also come along with you and I will be there with the doctor. So a lot of such incidences happened and, I could make a good team. And I'm proud to say that 3 years I was in Aurangabad, we never missed a single month of target achievement. Single month.
Great.
Obviously, thanks to my team. And the best part about this team, I so passionately talk about this team, is that in spite of so many years passing by, every member of that team is still in touch with me.
Wow.
So probably they must have seen something in me, probably, and that is the reason they find a reason to be in touch with me till date, be it through WhatsApp messages, Holi Diwali wishes, or New Year wishes, or once in a while phone calls. All those contact points are still alive, and we really love it. Having spent some good time in Aurangabad, I was parallelly posted or shifted to Pune. Again, a very different territory, but yes, it was a part of Maharashtra, so I handled that. And then came my tenure of getting another promotion. And I was promoted as a regional business manager, and I was shifted to Ahmedabad, Gujarat. So imagine from UP to Maharashtra and then to Gujarat. I was there for a very short stint of time for almost 2 years or a little less than 2 years. And within that short duration of time, when I went in, there were a lot of IR issues. So industrial relationship issues were there within the team and the union and all those things. Thankfully, with the help of the organization and my seniors, could handle all those things and win over the trust of the team. And slowly we started performing. Again, with all the obstacles of the language barrier, the fooding habits and all those things. But then that happened. Why I'm mentioning all these things is that each step, each headquarter gave me a very different learning altogether.
Right.
From Ahmedabad, I was parallelly moved to Punjab, that is Chandigarh.
Oh. so parikrama chal rahi hai puri.
Would you like to comment something about Chandigarh, whatever you've heard about in the profession?
Chandigarh, yeah, I heard about it. So staunch believers of union, right? Even after 3 o'clock, you cannot work. And if you're found after 3 o'clock, you may be done with anything.
Yeah, absolutely.
You may be beaten, you may be done with any sort of things that absolutely. I heard about.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I again took the challenge, I took the bull by the horn and I said, no, I will go to Chandigarh and I will see what is there that stops me from performing and proving.
Right.
And trust me, Alok, that was the best time of my career. And I'm really proud to say that was the best time of my career.
Great.
Why? The moment I went in, for almost 1.5 years, there was a complete ban on all the managers working of Ranbaxy. There was some issue which has happened with one of the divisions, and the union took a call of banning the working of all managers.
Oh,
And imagine if you as a manager are not working in the field, and immediately after joining, you don't know the team, you've not met them, and it
right.
just started all of a sudden, and you cannot work. What do? Ultimately, you are in sales. You have to
Yeah.
get the sales. So how do you go about it? So that's where my relationship with the team or the human angle came in between. And I started talking to people, started counseling them, started talking to them, getting them to a little positivity and taking them along with me. I have had opportunities where I started my working in Punjab area as early as 7 a.m. in the morning, when not many people had come out, as early as 7 a.m. in the morning and work late in the night just to ensure that my numbers are met. And who helped me? My team. Without my team, I would not have been there. So that's where the leadership skills were honed. It was a learning day. Every day was a learning day for me during my Punjab tenure. And while the other divisions of Ranbaxy were not performing, probably the division which I was leading in was one of the best performers at that point of time. And that is why I say proudly that that was my best time or tenure in my entire career. Having done a good tenure in Punjab, I got another promotion as a zonal business manager and was brought into Delhi. Now, all this is all Ranbaxy, right? All this is Ranbaxy. So I spent in almost 14 years in Ranbaxy. So again, Delhi tenure was a little different, bigger territory, bigger management of people. And so having spent almost 14 years with Ranbaxy, I thought, I should try something outside Ranbaxy as well, just to explore how the world outside looks like. Then came in a wonderful company by the name of MST, which is known as Merck Sharp and Dome, which is among the top 5 companies in the world, where you got an MNC experience. And I was really lucky to have some huge, good mentors with me in MNC, because Indian company and MNC cultures are completely different, completely different. That's is where I was taught a lot of things. Uh, it's not that Ranbaxy did not teach me. Ranbaxy also taught me. But what I very vividly remember and I could see is that what is the job role of a leader? The MNCs take a lot of time in grooming the skills of the leader. Actually, they hone your skills. They develop you so that you become a better manager in life. So the basic principles of leadership is how to engage a team, how to align the team with the organizational goals, how to ensure that the business processes are set and you and that the team follows up, how to get the end results from the team, how to develop the talent basically, how to engage the team and give them the ownership actually, and with all these things, how to ensure the outcomes.
And that's why, see, when I was also in pharma company, everybody used to be allowed by the position in MNCs. But
Exactly.
this was very clear demarcation between the Indian companies and MNCs, because their people management was much better than,
Absolutely.
and it's still it is the
It is.
condition.
It is. It
People
is.
management is much better than the Indian companies.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You've got it completely right. And that's what I learned from MSD. And I was really lucky to get some very good leaders who really helped me out in mentoring me, in guiding me, in coaching me, and making me the person who I am today. You know?
Right.
So while Ranbaxy also taught me, but it was more of a self-learning as compared to what an MNC does. But MNC handheld me, guided me. So that's what I got a better understanding about leadership in MSD. And from MSD, I started blooming. After I left MSD, I joined an Indian company and I came into Bombay as a sales head, taking care of India and Nepal operations.
Great.
The team size was 350 plus people actually
Wow.
spread across India. And
Wow.
that is a very different experience altogether, where you start getting into the number crunching, because till that time it's all okay,
Yes.
happening. But then at all India level, the picture is completely different, with a huge team size, with different parts of the country, because India is a very unique country,
Right.
different cultures all across. So with one person, you can talk in one way. With a North Indian, you can talk in one way, but probably you cannot talk to the South Indian the same,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So you have to be very cautious, taking care of the festivals, taking care of their needs, all these things, which I learned in that Indian company, and was a wonderful tenure. And after that, to my current position, which I am in, I'm currently working with Wokhard, uh, and working as a DGM, as you rightly mentioned. And I was brought in here for a very special purpose. I was brought in to launch a division into aesthetics, that is dermatology and aesthetics. My predominant experience, which was past, I have worked in all other fields also, but predominant experience has always been into dermatology, which is the core of my heart. I really like that field. And looking to my past experience, I was given an opportunity by the chairman of the organization to come in and launch this division. A very unique, system, and the products which we have launched are very, very unique, very niche market actually, into completely aesthetics. Now, if you see, a lot of people are wanting to look younger, wanting to look, better, grooming their looks. So there is a lot of demand of aesthetics, which is there, and most of the doctors have also started practicing aesthetics. They also obviously have into dermatology, but into aesthetics. This was a complete different learning of how to launch a complete division, right from the scratch, because I was the only one who was hired, right from the scratch, from hiring the people to getting into the product making, how to design the product, how to design the cover, how to get the trials done from the doctors, how to publish, and then obviously how to go commercial. So these were some amazing learnings which I've had within Wokhard, and I still continue to be here. So that's all about my journey so far, actually, Alok, into the pharmaceuticals industry, my learnings, the leadership, as you rightly asked. And as I said, I firmly believe that there are no shortcuts in life. You have to earn it the hard way only.
That's really a great story, Harpal, because as I said, leadership is always there in your mind, and then this is manifested in your reality.
True.
And this is how I say the seeds of intentions. When you have the seeds of intentions, they will find their own air and water and
They
soil,
will go.
and they will
Yes.
germinate. It will happen.
Yes.
Being a leader, Harpal, because now you're at the top position. Being a leader, you have to take care of so many people. Some people will may listen to you, some may not, or evidently they may not confront you as
Of
such.
course.
But it happens like many times you have to manage between all sorts of behaviors. So how do you manage them? Is your what is your leadership style? How do you manage all those behaviors or opinions? Because as a leader, you have to generate the results as well as you have to control or you have to manage your team also.
Right.
That's the what I think that's the biggest crusade of a leader.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, so how do you manage what skills you say bank more upon so that you manage all those things?
You're going to get all my secrets out, actually, Alok.
It is required because
But
many of the leaders, budding leaders, they will require these
yes.
skills.
No, it's a
Yeah.
wonderful question. Wonderful question. I would love to answer this. Look, when you're working with an organization, as you rightly said, there are certain goals, set goals, which you have to achieve, which are expected from the organization, and you have to get it done from the people only or your team, actually. So there has to be a very unique balance between the organizational expectations and your team expectations. You have to be very high on your task orientation also, but you have to see that the people orientation or the human orientation also is equally high. It is a very difficult thing to achieve. Trust me, it is a very difficult thing to achieve. Since you have been in the industry, you would understand it better. That's a very, very difficult thing to achieve, but not an impossible task. Where you, I would give you a small little example. I'm sure we have all seen the potters, uh, right, who make those pot. If we have observed a very small little thing while he or she makes that pot is that while making a pot, they have one hand inside the pot and they have a wooden hammer outside, right? With the hand inside, they're trying to support that mud. Whereas with the wooden hammer, they're trying to give it a shape, right? That's exactly what is required today to be a successful leader or a manager, where you have to continue using that wooden hammer to bring in the discipline, the task orientation, the responsibility and the discipline which is required, while at the same time, you need to support also to your team. As I just mentioned, that there has to be a very strong balance between the task orientation and the people orientation. You have to ensure that the discipline is there, because without discipline, without demand, without the business, obviously your job will not be there, and their job also will not be there. But you have to see to it that as a leader, you are trying to support them in all possible ways, right? COVID was the best time where this was seen. Trust me, there are many companies which have failed. There are many leaders which have failed during this point of time. I'm not trying to boast, but there are many leaders who have shown exemplary behavior during this point of time by understanding the needs of the team. They have stood by their team. They have helped by the team. The team. It is as simple as providing a hand sanitizer or a set of gloves or a set of masks to your team to ensure that you are being thought about. Sitting at head office also, your safety is of our utmost concern. There are many companies who have done that, including us as well. That is a small gesture. Why would a team member not appreciate it? This is the most human thing which you could do actually. You are asking them to go out. In these uncertain times, you're asking them to go out. You're expecting business from them, but you're trying to help them and support them also. If a leader is trying to merge these two things, I'm sure there is no failure. You will get the results as you require. You need to show the larger picture to the team members also. Okay, look, as I have my career and my future, you also have a career in your future. You need to sit with them. You need to understand what are their aspirations. And if you are able to help them in their achieving their aspirations, why not? I also believe very strongly, Alok, in one thing. There are two terms, personal growth and professional growth. They might look as very different terms, but I consider them as one term. There cannot be any personal growth without a professional growth, and there cannot be any professional growth without a personal growth. So if you understand the aspiration of each of your team members, handhold them and ensure that they rise in the levels, or they achieve, they get what they want actually, you've made your point.
And what I feel, Harpal, because most of the members, they are having the hammer in their hand, but the next hand, the second hand, they are missing to support their team, which is I have been watching, like many of the leaders I have worked with them, they are like that only. They are missing that supporting hand, and they are using only hammer, and then the team don't stay with them. It happens like that.
The attrition is because of that only.
Yes,
When it
yes.
is said that a person does not leave a company, a person leaves a manager. So if a person is leaving your team, I mean, it is a question mark on you. It is not a question mark on them actually, right?
And because you being the topmost leader in your organization, and also I have heard that you are a pacer also. You're a marathon runner, you're a pacer, and looking at you leading a big team and also having that stamina, like you have to travel, you have to manage the team, you have to have manage the pressure of sales closing and everything, and still you have to keep your mind healthy, body healthy, and you have that marathon thing in your lifestyle. What is that about?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, what you said is absolutely right, that a person, a fit body and a fit mind will also always be able to produce more good ideas and thoughts, and will always help you. If the body does not support, you will not be able to go out. So, and usually what we give as excuses is that, I'm in a corporate job, I have long hours to sit, I have to travel, I'm so tired, I'm not able to do anything for myself. And the same thing started happening with me also. I mean, despite me being a sports person in my school, college days, but after that, I left everything, and slowly these habits which took on, the social media, the touring, traveling, and the, mindset. Okay, I'm very tired. I cannot do anything as of now. I started putting on weight. I went up to almost 90 plus kgs, and which started showing on my body. I had a big paunch. I could not understand. I used to get tired very soon. And since I have always been into the field, after meeting some 2, 3 doctors, despite working in a cab also, I started feeling tired. I started feeling hungry. And that's where I thought, no, let me take some professional help. And that's where I visited a nutritionist and a dietitian. And the first question which that lady asked me is, what type of physical activity do you do? Trust me, I had no answer. I had no answer. And that is where I started my healthy living, or started making changes into my lifestyle. What started slowly as climbing the stairs of my office, right from basement to the 8th floor, that is climbing almost 10 floors every day, slowly started walking, jogging, and then running. So it has taken me time, almost now 4 years that I've been into running. But again, a lot of learning. Today, I'm proud to say that yes, I'm a marathoner, because people use the term marathon for a small distances like 5 and 10 kilometers also. But trust me, that is not a marathon. That is just a run. A marathon is 42 kilometers. So till the time you don't do 42 kilometers, you have no right to call yourself a marathoner. So I'm proud to say that I am a marathoner. Last year, 2019, January, is where I participated in one of the biggest events in India, Tata Mumbai Marathon, where almost, lakhs of people from across the globe come in. I did my first full marathon there. And if all goes well, keeping my fingers crossed, by the end of this January, I'll be doing my second full marathon this year itself.
Wow, wow. That's great. That's great. I started something and then you said 42 kilometers. I was just thinking about 4.2 kilometers for myself.
No, it happens. Trust me, it happens. You just have to believe that whatever way you are doing it, you're doing it right or not. Have confidence on
Yeah.
yourself, and don't miss out on that aim. Why did you start running? If you have to, maintain yourself, if you have to remain fit, I think this is what is required. So, while I started running, again, I'm once again going to mention about the leadership out here. So running also has got leaders. They are those coaches, of course, which you look up to, who are, teaching you, training you, guiding you. What form correction should you do? What should be the stance? How you should breathe? What is the diet which you have? What type of shoes which you wear? What are precautions if you have to take before a run, after a run? So these are those coaches which are there. But there is another type of leadership which is there in running. And as you mentioned, there is something which is known as a pacer. I don't know how much our audience will be aware of it or not, but I'd just like to elaborate a little about the role of a pacer. If you've ever witnessed a marathon, you'll find certain people which have a flag pinned up on their back. They wear a jacket which has a flag holder, a small little pipe erupts, and there is a placard which has got 60, 70, 80, 90, or 2 hours, 3 hours written on it. Now, what are these? These are the timings which is written. That is 60 is 60 minutes. 2.00 is 2 hours. 3.00 is 3 hours. So it depends on which type of race which you're doing. So I'll give you an example of a 10-kilometer run. So if Alok Joshi wants to run, and currently he is doing a 10 kilometers in 62 minutes for say. And Alok has a thought in mind that I need to finish it in 60 minutes. I need to get it within 1 hour. How do I do it? And you participate in a marathon. You see a person, a male or a female, with that flag with 60 written on it. He or she is known as a pacer or a pacer bus. So all those people who want to finish their run within 60 minutes join that bus. Then it becomes the responsibility of that pacer to ensure that you finish the run within 60 minutes. Throughout the entire way of 10 kilometers, he or she will coach you, guide you, tell you, okay, now we will go fast. Now we can relax. Now is a hydration point. Now we need to pull up. Okay, there is a hill coming up. There is an incline coming up. So be a little slow. But when there's a decline, you need to catch up with the pace. So all this is guided by the pacer during the run. So you have a huge responsibility because there are 5, 10, 20 people behind you who are following you. And you need to ensure that everybody reaches the finish line within 60 minutes. So it's again a type of a leadership, which I found, which was gelling in with my ideas. And it was very soon the moment I joined into this running. I thought of when I saw these people, I was really amazed and impressed by them. And I thought, no, I have to also become a pacer. And I also ensure that people along with me in my bus finish off the race or cross the finish line along with me in that designated time. And it has been really been a very satisfying journey so far because I have been a pacer in many runs. I mean, once I'm through with this, I would like to share some of my clippings, some photographs, or the other things which will be relevant. If you could put it in the video, probably people will take it as an inspiration.
Absolutely, this is going to, because whatever you are speaking about might be very new for many of the viewers.
Absolutely.
So your footage will definitely help them to understand the concept of
Right.
pacers, and whosoever are definitely into this field, they will be
Already,
motivated
yes,
with this.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. So that's how about like leadership started in one thing, and then everything you do keeping in the mind the leadership thing.
Absolutely.
Every time you think about leadership, it's so contagious.
It is.
It's so contagious that once you become a leader, you're always a leader. And if you see in any field you go, you will always become a leader.
Yeah, true.
You'll always think of leading people, first leading yourself, then leading people, leading by the example. So once you say, I'm a marathon runner, because why can you say I'm a marathon runner? Because I have run so much. So that's why you can say, and also you give that, I have achieved that milestone of being a pacer.
Yes.
So that's how it goes.
Yes.
So that's so much of learning for the budding leaders also. Last thing about Harpal, what would you like to give the message to the budding, even in pharmaceutical industry also? There are many new budding managers who will become area managers, because top representatives, they will become area managers, then regional managers, then reach up to the level of GM and DGM sort of thing. What would be your message to these budding leaders and managers?
Uh, okay. A very important thing actually, because if people are going to make their career in the pharmaceutical industry or any other field where they wish to grow, I would once again like to reiterate the definition of a leader. Leader is someone who is in a position to influence or motivate. You need to by heart this definition, and every walk of life you need to ensure, are you becoming a motivator for your team, for your followers? Are you trying to influence somebody or not? If you're not, please go back and check where have you faltered and take corrective measures then and there. A statement which I had made earlier, I would once again like to reiterate, there are no shortcuts in life. Trust me, there are no shortcuts in life. So you have to follow the process. You have to take time. You have to understand what are your strength areas. You also need to take guidance about what are your improvement areas. You need to strengthen your strength areas, and you need to ensure how to improvise upon your improvement areas and slowly start building upon them. Because till the time you don't make your improvement areas into your strengths, you will be continue to lacking somewhere. So start believing in the process, start taking feedbacks, start finding coaches who can help you and guide you in your journey towards your life, or journey in taking promotions in life. There are many, and in your series also we've seen a lot of good leaders who are there in various aspects of life. So find out these people who will be genuinely interested in helping you out. Trust in the process, trust in your seniors. They will always guide you, help you, and remember, try and read a lot of stuff. I am giving this advice. I have never been an avid reader myself, but trust me, when I have come here, thanks to my bosses who've really helped me out, I have recently started my reading journey. And what reading journey how did I start off with? My boss sent me a book through courier, and this is the book. This says,
absolutely progressive.
What you hear won't get you there. It is by a very famous coach, Marshall Goldsmith. This was where I started my journey of reading and learning. And probably without this reading, I would call myself as an illiterate. So for all these years, I was completely an illiterate. Thanks to my boss, my current boss, who actually gifted me this book. And then now, obviously, I'm hooked to reading, and I continue to do that. I have done the same thing with my team as well. I sent in small little books to them through courier and asked them to read and then make a presentation to me, so that, if there is an improvement area, I try and do that. So the suggestion is very simple. Please see to it that you have the larger picture in your mind. What is it that you want to achieve? Remember, there are no shortcuts. You have to take every step. They might look difficult, but don't lose hope. Don't lose faith. Have confidence on yourself. Find out good mentors who can help you out, who can find out strength areas in you, and also help you in improving your weaknesses. Weakness is a very negative term. So improvement areas. So if you can help them out in developing your skills, that would really, and within no time, you will be there for what you aspire for.
That's an amazing words of inspiration and motivation from a great leader. So, ladies and gentlemen, this was an amazing leadership talk. I would say, talk to rock, and Harpal literally aced and rocked this show. And I will also get benefited in my own field, even because I have been leader for last 8 years in my field, even. And yes, absolutely, if the leaders, they walk the talk, definitely their followers also get inspired, motivated, and influenced. And then the job of a leader, it becomes easier, so they can influence more people in their life. So it really becomes a very contagious thing.
True.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this was Harpal Singh Abad, and a great show, great talk, and his great story in front of us, and a leadership skills, marathon skills, the pacing techniques that he talked about, reading capabilities of a leader. So much to learn from him. And I hope the people who would be watching this will definitely get inspired, and especially the budding leaders, because a leader who has acquired some position always have the practical things, the practical steps that he has followed, and because of that, others can also implement those things and reach wherever they want to reach in their life. So with that, we are closing this show, but we are starting the motivation journey for the other leaders.
Absolutely.
So thank you very much, everybody, to watch this show. My name is Alok Joshi. Watching and smiling over there. We'll meet again with the same smile. And thank you very much, Harpal, for being in this show.
Thank you for having me, Alok. Thank you so much.